Hello everyone, and welcome to my very first pick a card reading. My name is Castor. I've been doing tarot reading for a while, and recently I've been being called to start doing general readings. And it's sort of one of those thoughts that hasn't really left me alone for a month or two. So since the calling is that strong, I am maybe not caving so much as leaning into it. So I do want to say real quick before we get started, I do have a very large cat with very sharp claws, and he loves to say hello to me with them. So if you hear any noises in the background, it's probably just Zeus. He is currently sitting in the chair I was about to be sitting in to do these readings, and I can't move him because he's too cute. I'll probably edit in a picture of him so you can see because he's just adorable. Anyways, so for today, we're going to be doing messages from your spirit guides. If you're called to more than one pile, feel free to click into them. However many that you're called to, there may be messages for you in all of them. But don't force anything. You know, if it doesn't feel like it's resonating with you or what you're going through, don't force any messages, you know? Anyways, so today we're going to start with an energy check-in with the oracle cards. If you've seen YouTube readings before, you're probably familiar with this, but just in the event that you're not, basically we're just going to be using the oracle cards to figure out the energy of the person I'm reading for. So if that's the part that if it's not sounding like you don't need to keep going in that pile. There may be messages for you in a different pile, or there may not be messages for you in any of the piles, and that's okay too. I doubt this is going to be the last one that I post. Anyways, so after the oracle card energy check-in, we're going to do some tarot. And then after the tarot, we're going to do some osteomancy, some charm casting. And after that, we're going to round out with some positive messages, some affirmations from your spirit guides. So for today's piles, we are starting with the Rose Quartz Heart. And the tarot that we're going to be using is the Ethereal Visions Tarot. For pile 2, we're using the Amazonite Merkaba Star. And the tarot we're going to be using is the Green Trace Tarot. And for pile 3, we have this yellow calcite carved moon. And the tarot that we're going to be using is the Three Trees Tarot. So take all the time you need to pick your pile or piles. Feel free to pause the video and take a little longer to look at them. I'm going to go ahead and get started with pile 1. So thank you for coming, and I will see you in your pile. Hello, pile 1, and welcome to your reading. You picked the Rose Quartz Heart, which we're just going to place. We'll put you right over here for now. So we're going to start with your oracle cards, and we'll put your tarots, no, you know what, we'll put you over here. We'll put your tarots off to the side over here. So these don't actually need to be in frame. Stick them all the way over there. Perfect. Okay. Want to make sure we leave enough space for your cards. So, oh, that's right. So yeah, for your songs that played while I was shuffling out your oracle cards, we had Honeybee by Steam Powered Giraffe, Hug All Your Friends by Cave Town, Oklahoma by Jack Stauber, and Ghosting by Mother Mother. Which is funny too, because as I was setting up for this reading, just make sure that's in frame, perfect. As I was setting up for your reading, I actually was listening to music, and Ghosting by Mother Mother was the last song that played also. And then I was like, okay, yep, time for reading. Heard chef. Alrighty, so your first card we have is the Self. And then the Queen. Sun Bear. Scooch you just a little bit. Faith. Divine, Feminine, and we have Magic. And then for your little mini cards, we have Ascendant and Opposition. Okay, let me just make sure everyone's in frame. Perfect. Alrighty. So, the first thing that I want to say is pile 1. I wish you knew how amazing you were. I'm getting a sense that you're very hard on yourself. Mm, I think that's the message for some of you. I think that there's definitely an additional message here of a spiritual awakening. A spiritual awakening involving a lot of growth too. I think I just learned that pearls are formed when a piece of dirt or something gets inside of an oyster or of like an oyster's shell. Um, and so I love this like imagery of like the pearl in the person just like glowing, of just like you've taken the hard things that have happened to you in your life, and turned, and instead of letting them fill you with dirt, you've turned person your own personality, like you have turned yourself into a pearl. And yeah, I think there's definitely a message here, especially with magic, with faith, um, about being on the brink of, and with ascendant too, first impression of being on the brink or at the very beginning of a spiritual awakening. With the queen too, there's like a sort of like a mastery. Um, I almost want to say like it's like your soul's going through a promotion. um, but yeah, I think that you're either on the brink or you've just gone through a spiritual awakening. Um, that I think there was some resistance to. And I'm getting that the resistance was internal, like the resistance was you, the resistance was the self. But I'm not getting that the resistance came from the self, which is interesting. I think it's like it's external resistance that you internalize. So that's the dirt that became the pearl. Um and with the queen, with determination, with sacrifice too, it's like there's a message of like royalty, of like standing strong against what opposes you for what you know is good for you. Um, of going, no, I'm the fucking queen. Like I'm right. I'm the fucking queen and I know what I'm doing. Um, and that may not be the exact energy that you're currently in, but I do think that it's an energy that you're being encouraged to embody of like, and with like the rays coming out of the pearl too, with like prioritizing yourself, and not just prioritizing yourself in like a divine feminine, like maternal, like self-care sort of prioritization of yourself, but prioritizing yourself enough to fight for yourself, mm, enough to stand up for yourself. I want to read about the sun bear because I see like this like sun, like these like rays, um imitating the self as well. And with bears too, there's like the message of like hibernation. And with spiritual awakening, it's like you're coming out of your hibernation. Like your soul is coming out of its hibernation. Like you're the bear coming out of hibernation. You're the oysters, I think, are the ones with pearls. Now I feel stupid. The clam that's opening up, to show that like beautiful pearl that's inside. Yeah, let's read about sun bear. Let me see what page Sun Bear is on. Also, while I'm at it, I highly recommend any of the decks by, is it Matt Hughes? I'll edit his name into the shot so that way you can see. Oh, it's on here. Yeah, Matt Hughes. There we go. Don't need to edit anything. Yay. Any of the Matt Hughes decks. He also did the Ethereal Visions Tarot, which we're going to use later. And the art on these decks are just stunning. Oh my gosh, why can't I find Summer? There we go. 63. There we go. Sun bear lives predominantly in Southeast Asia, where they prefer to spend most of their time watching from the trees. The distinctive golden chest patch reflects the warmth and life of our sun. The sun bear is considered the embodiment of spiritual power and strength. Their intuition and self-reflection can help one to heal through harmony and balance. As part of the Ursidae family, they also share common spiritual traits of intuition and introspection. The strength of bear medicine is seated with the power to restore harmony and balance, to heal. Many cultures refer to the bear spirit as the great healer. Meanings: summon the strength to help steady your spirit. Listen to your intuition and let it guide you. Ah, I love when I'm right. But yeah, I think that, and especially with like magic too, I think that the sun bear, the spiritual awakening, this whole spiritual awakening will be really healing for you. Um, and you know, with the songs with like Ghosting by Mother Mother, that song's like, I've been ghosting along. And I think that like your energy is that this spiritual awakening will bring you. And then with Honeybee too, Set Me Free is one of the lyrics in that song. I'm like, it feels very reflective of this energy of that spirituality helping to heal you. With rejuvenation too, with hope, inspiration, rejuvenation, this spiritual awakening is going to bring, it's going to bring so much color into your life. It's really so beautiful. And I haven't talked very much about magic and divine feminine. I think magic is alluding very much to the spiritual awakening. With divine feminine too, I think that's part of this like there's a message about self-care. And not in like a it's interesting. It's shadow work, for example, is a kind of self-care. It's difficult. It's hard work. It's not the kind of self-care that's like, yeah, I like took a bath and painted my nails. I mean, that is also self-care. Um, but there are various kinds of self-care. Self-care can be taking a bath and painting your nails. Self-care is also doing your laundry and cleaning your room. You know, it's taking care of yourself. And you're you're doing the laundry of your soul. You know what I mean? Like you're you're doing the self-care things that this spiritual awakening will help you do these self-care things that will be taking care of you, that will embody this prioritization of your emotional well-being too. I don't love I'm non-binary. I use they them pronouns. I don't love divine feminine or divine masculine. I don't love the genderedness of the terms. Um, but I understand the interpretation of them as being a sort of emotional caretaking versus like a material caretaking, and that seems to be coming out in this of like that's the message that I'm getting from divine feminine here is like there's an emotional spiritual caretaking aspect that this spiritual awakening is going to help you do, and that might not always be an easy thing to do. That might sometimes be a thing that you need to fight for yourself for, but it is going to be something that I really is so well worth it for you. I also want to read about ascendant and opposition. I'm still sometimes I feel like a beginner on astrology when I see some of these cards. Ascendant, I believe, is like your rising sign, but I'm not familiar with opposition. Oh, I think I'm going to find opposition first. Okay, opposition. Resistance, struggle, polarity. Intense and challenging, the opposition aspect occurs when two celestial bodies are exactly across the sky from one another or at 180 degrees. This means they are 6 zodiac signs away from each other and share a modality like cardinal, fixed, or mutable. They will additionally reside in compatible elements such as fire and air or earth and water. Oppositions are also referred to as zodiac polarities, bringing opposites together for balance. This aspect can present planets as speaking completely different languages, making it difficult to find common ground. However, oppositions lay the groundwork for growth, pushing you outside your comfort zone to face any resistance. That I think is the message here, is this last bit. That's I think what you needed to hear is oppositions lay the groundwork for growth, pushing you outside your comfort zone to face any resistance. Especially with how I was just talking about the queen, about how you're going to have to fight for some of those things. Those things are going to contribute to this growth. And that growth won't just be a spiritual growth too. It's going to be a growth that you see in your I almost want to say like in your emotional body. I don't think that's the word that I'm really looking for, but hang on, I gotta figure out where ascendant is. Oh, that is less helpful. One sec. Okay, there we go, ascendant. The ascendant is at the cusp of the first house, also known as your rising sign. Okay, I thought so. It marks what was rising on the eastern horizon at the exact moment of your birth. That is why birth times are imperative to calculate an accurate natal chart in astrology. This placement can show your conditioning in early childhood and what affected your upbringing. Your conditioning can highly affect how you choose to present yourself to the world as you cultivate a mask for survival. That's a terrible noise. This part of yourself may be what you're most comfortable sharing on the surface level. Ask yourself, what parts of my conditioning affect how I choose to present myself? Oh, I love that. So 2 things that I'm getting from Ascendant is one, this spiritual awakening, this feels like a very much like confirmation that like, this is, with your rising sign too. It marks what was rising on the eastern horizon at the exact moment of your birth, like the sun, and with the sun imagery, with the like rays of light imagery too, like the sun rising in the east, like you have like this rising, this growing, this beginning of a spiritual awakening. And as for what parts of my conditioning affect how I choose to present myself, I think that's very much in reference to what I was saying about how you may have had other people who discouraged this spirituality in you. And you're now fighting for yourself. You're fighting that and you're rejecting that and you're saying, okay, I've been resisting this spiritual awakening for long enough. And now I don't need to keep resisting this spiritual awakening. Now I need to be resisting the the conditioning that I was raised with, or the conditioning that I have encountered throughout my life that made me think that this spiritual awakening was not for me, or that spirituality was not for me. And yeah, last message too, I'm like with faith. I it's not just having faith in spirit or faith in the universe or faith in, it's also about having faith in yourself. About having that faith in yourself to be like, okay, I'm a fucking monarch. We're not going to use gendered language for queen or king on that one, but I am royalty and I know what's best for me. And I am going to take that pearl that I have and I'm going to let it glow. I'm not going to hibernate anymore. I'm not going to hide away in a cave anymore and hide from this part of myself that is so good for me. And that I can that you can really nurture too. Um, it's funny too. Opposition almost looks like handcuffs, of like you are freeing yourself from those handcuffs. Oh, it's a great energy. All right, I'm gonna pack up your oracles. Oh, and then also, each of the piles has a unique oracle card from a different deck. And so your deck was the Earth and Bone Oracle. So that is what this card is from. We're gonna leave Faith out. Alrighty. And now I'm just going to give these a shuffle. Immediately shuffling to the Ace of Swords. Fighting for yourself. Or immediately cutting to that. And these cards are a little stiff for shuffling, but that is okay. Cutting to the Star. Great energy. Hope. That spiritual awakening too, that like, and all of those glowing ray of light imagery, all that glowing ray of light imagery that we've been doing. Alrighty. Alrighty. And before I shuffle these out, just wanted to say, Ace of Swords again on the back of the deck. Before I shuffle these out, just wanted to say thank you so much for clicking in. Thank you so much for sticking around to now if you're enjoying this. And if you are enjoying this, if you could leave me a like or a subscribe or a comment. I hate saying those things, but I know how algorithm works. So if you enjoyed this, and also how people work. So if you enjoyed this, please let me know. And yeah, all it takes is one. Anyways, let's get some cards. Some messages for pile 1 from their spirit guides. The world. Oh, that's a great start. Let's get some more. All right, I don't think we're going to take all of those. We're going to take the Hierophant. I think we actually are supposed to take all of these. 8 of Wands in reverse and Page of Cups. This is starting to make sense. Let's get some more in here though. Yeah, there's more messages in here. I'm definitely already seeing some stuff. Ooh, the Devil in reverse and the Emperor in reverse. And I think there is 2 more in here. Ooh. And then 2 more fly out. And one of them is Ace of Swords and the High Priestess. You know, it's funny though, Ace of Swords came out in reverse, which is interesting. We saw that a couple times while we were shuffling as well. I saw that twice while I was shuffling. I don't know if it came through on camera, but that was the back of the deck. Oh, and then the back of the deck right now, we have the Chariot. Okay. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, this is making sense. One of the first things that I'm getting looking at this, we're gonna go in order on the cards before we start jumping around. I'm gonna end up jumping around anyways, though I know how I am. But with the world as the start, it's very much giving that like this part of your spiritual journey is what's leading you into your new cycle. It's what's leading you out of the cycle that you're in now and leading you into a new cycle. I'm also getting that this is a divinely guided. I mean, it's tough to say it's a divinely guided spiritual awakening, you know what I mean? Like all spiritual awakenings are divinely guided, but this is part of your purpose. This is part of your soul's purpose. Being on this planet is to have this spiritual awakening. And whether the purpose of that spiritual awakening is for other people or to that's not what I want to say. What I want to say is this may bring you to other people, but this spiritual awakening is about your own soul's growth. I'm not getting, it's funny too, it's reflecting in these cards as well, but there is one figure on each of these cards. None of these cards have more than one figure on them. I mean, technically the world does, but they almost read as statues on here. Like each of these cards has one figure predominantly. Like this journey is for you. You have insane major arcana energy in this. 5 of the 8 cards, 6 of the 9 cards. That's the second 6. And we had 63 on the page of your Dreamscape Oracle card. And then 6 out of 9 major arcanas. Maybe multiples of 3 are important for you. Those might be signs of spirit communicating with you. Anyways, with the Hierophant and the Devil, it's funny. The Hierophant has like the Hierophant and the High Priestess have very like it's funny, it reads to me almost as like there's a tradition to some of the things that you are getting into. But also there's a message of not being afraid to do what feels right, of trusting your own intuition as well. You can follow the traditions, but at the end of the day, don't forget that it's your practice. That's really what I want to get at, is that this is your practice at the end of the day. Your spiritual practices, your spiritual experiences, those are your experiences. They're not meant to be, they're not recipes to follow. You know what I mean? Spirituality doesn't have spirituality doesn't have a handbook. It's like parenting doesn't have a handbook. You know what I mean? People always say that. It's like spirituality is very much the same. There's no guideline to the correct way to be a spiritual being. And it's funny, I think I know a couple of people who are going through something similar right now, who they're struggling, or they were struggling, they're coming out of struggling with knowing what to do with spirituality. But spirituality is about trusting your intuition. It's about doing what feels right. I am following my intuition in doing these readings and posting them. It feels like the right thing to do right now. And so it feels like part of my divinely guided spiritual journey. And so that's what I'm doing. That's kind of it. So yeah, there's something to be said for looking at the tradition, for doing traditional study, but there is just as much to be said about trusting your own intuition, because that's the way to ascend, is really the word that which is funny because I personally don't think I love that, but that's the one that's coming through, is ascend. But that's the way to get in touch with your spiritual side. That's a way to experience spiritual growth. With the devil, I think this is with the devil in reverse too. It's interesting. I'm going to talk about the devil in reverse and the emperor in reverse because it feels almost like a little bit of a warning. Um, and not a warning necessarily of like a really bad thing, but just something to keep an eye out for, of like making sure to keep balance. I think that the emperor is a very strong authoritative figure, you know what I mean? And with divine feminine coming out, the emperor is very much divine masculine, and divine feminine is very much the empress. So getting the emperor in reverse to me very much reads like making sure you're heeding divine feminine, making sure you're not leaning too far into your authoritative, material, physical energy, like letting yourself experience spiritual these spiritual things, letting yourself follow your intuition, letting yourself do things not because you know them factually, not because you've studied and you have references and uh you've looked to authority figures on it, um, but because you are following your own intuition, because you trust yourself, and because you know what's right. Um, but also here with the message of it's not necessarily keeping the balance with the devil in reverse. It's being careful not to become too reliant on your spiritual journey, not to let your spiritual journey interrupt your material journey. That, I think, is why these both came out in reverse next to each other. These came out as a pair of like not leaning so far into your spiritual journey that you are neglecting to take care of yourself on the material realm. I think a reminder would be a more appropriate term than a warning. I think this is a reminder, um, to not lean so far into authority, and then to not lean so far into your spiritual growth and development that you neglect your material physical self, or anything on the material plane. Um, and over here too, with Eight of Wands in reverse, I'm very much getting that this is a slower journey. Um, Eight of Wands, my partner always says like Eight of Wands is the fastest card in the deck. And they're right. Eight of Wands is all fast movement, action, things like that. And I think this is a reminder that your spiritual journey is not a race. It's funny, I have another deck where the Eight of Wands, it's the this might hurt tarot. It might be the Modern Witch Tarot. But one of them has the Eight of Wands represented as the Eight Wands, and then there is a motorcycle on the road underneath the Eight Wands. And it's like, your spiritual growth isn't a race. Growth isn't a race. You're not trying to grow as fast as you can. Growth is about, I, it's about the journey. And that, I think, with the Chariot on the back of the deck, too, is very much like, take this journey, enjoy the journey. Don't forget, it's not a race. It's not something that you have to dedicate your whole being to. It's not something that you have to become the emperor of. You know what I mean? It's not something that you have to go, okay, I'm going to become an ascended master now. Like, I'm going to master this perfectly, and then after that, I'll move on to something else. Your spiritual journey it's a path that you should have one foot on while you walk the rest of your journey too. You know what I mean? It's a part of your journey. It's not the journey, it's a part of the journey. And so don't feel like you have to rush it. Don't feel like you have to race down it. Don't feel like you have to dedicate all of your time and energy and effort to it. Don't let yourself get addicted to it. You know what I mean? Let it be let it be something that you enjoy exploring. Let it be something that brings you new emotional opportunities. Let it be something that helps rejuvenate you. Let it be something that helps you create. Page of Cups almost always comes out for me in a creativity energy. Especially, I'm a writer. And so with Page of Cups coming out, I almost always get Page of Cups on like a writing opportunity. It's almost always, or creative energy rather. And so it's almost always creative energy. And so I think that with this spiritual journey, you'll find a way to access creative energy in a new way. And whether that's there are tons of ways to be creative in your spiritual journey. So whether it's the kind of spiritually guided, whether it's a kind of like divination, or whether it's maybe like kitchen witchcraft, you know, like maybe it's like cooking, maybe you find a way to incorporate your spirituality into cooking. Maybe it's just making art, and maybe it's none of those things. Maybe it's just co-creating with the universe. But this spiritual awakening will bring you, and letting yourself take it slow along the journey, alongside the journey that you're taking as a physical being. Letting yourself take that slowly will really open up a lot of new opportunities for you. First, there's a couple things that I'm getting from the Ace of Swords in reverse. One of them is a affirmation re what was it? Your one of your little round cards. Where did they go? One of them I think is an affirmation to opposition, of like, this is not something to fight. This is not something that you need to fight. This is not something that you need a sword to handle. Um, I'm also getting a message about, and it's funny, I think I get this a lot when it comes to spiritual awakenings. This is a message that I have to deliver to a lot of people who are in this position. But with a spiritual awakening, you do not need to share any of your spiritual experiences with other people. And with the Hierophant and the High Priestess too, it's like, if there are, or the Emperor in reverse, or not either of these, but with these, if these represent to you somebody who you know, if this is like an authority figure in your life, a parent, a father, I mean also a mother, any parent, any authority figures in your life, a religious figure, an authoritative religious figure, or even not an authoritative religious figure, a religious figure who you just look up to, you don't need to share. You do not need to emulate. You do not need to give any part of your spiritual experience, even to a stranger. You know, like, you do not need to give any part of your spiritual journey, experience, practices, insights. You do not, you don't owe anybody shit. You don't owe anyone an explanation. You don't owe anyone any information about your spiritual journey whatsoever. That's between you and your spirit guides and the universe, or your gods, or whatever spiritual practices you are on the cusp of. You don't owe that information to anybody. I think at this point, if you're still in this reading, if you're still in this pile, you have some idea of what of what spirits you're guided towards. Or maybe you don't. Maybe you're still referring to it as spirit or the universe. Whatever it is. Whatever you're awakening to is between you and whatever you're awakening to. It's not between your parents. It's not between your family. It's not between any authority figures. It's not even between your friends. You don't owe any of that information to anyone. That information is for you. And so I think the message here is very much about being careful about who you share information to, who you want to offer that to. Um, because frankly, if you're in this energy of opposition, I'm going to leave opposition back out actually, because I think that opposition is really where we are, what we're now talking about. So we're just going to leave you here. Thanks, buddy. Anyone who opposes you, you don't have to justify anything to anyone. This is not about justifying your experience, because your experience is yours and yours alone. So if there's anyone who might oppose you in your spiritual journey, you don't have to tell them anything. You don't have to tell them anything about it. It's for you. And I think that is with Divine Feminine, with the High Priestess, with these with these more feminine figures who are coming through in your reading. It's like, this is about yourself. This is about taking care of you. This is not about proving anything to anyone. the only thing that you have to do, the only thing you have to do is explore it. And that is exactly what you're supposed to do too. Exactly what you're supposed to do is explore it. Hop in your chariot and see where it leads you. And don't worry about how fast you're going. And don't worry so much about it that you're letting it interrupt your ability to live your life. And certainly don't worry about sharing it with anyone. I almost want to flip the Hierophant and the Devil because it feels like these are really the connected messages. Of like, these are people who you may look up to and who may offer you good advice, but you don't need to take it, and you certainly don't owe them anything of yourself. And then up here, it's very much messages about your spirituality, about this is what you're meant to do. This is what's meant for you. That's what it is this is what's meant for you. And it's not meant for you as an escape from the material plane. And it's not meant for you as a race to run down as fast as you can. It's meant for you as something for you to explore, and something for you to enjoy. It's supposed to be something very positive for you. Not something that you feel like you have to fight. Not something that you feel like you have to wrestle. Not something that you feel opposed from or chained to. It's part of your journey. It's part of your journey, babe. Alrighty, I think that wraps up tarot. 22 as I look up at the camera to see how long we've been going. Alrighty, and now we're gonna do some charm reading. I just do it right over the tarot. Personally, I find that's the best way to do it. Alrighty. I am not surprised at all to see the piece about other coming out. There's an affirmative message here about exploring your spiritual journey. This is an affirmation that this is my yes piece. This is an affirmation that this is exactly what you're supposed to be doing, is exploring. These two are interesting. I think there's a message here, especially where I sort of, before I did the charm pull, I like relegated, there's the physical realm and then like the spiritual realm, like the spiritual experience and then the material experience. A health piece came out for your physical experience. And so I think there's a message in there to not rely on spirituality. Again, not to rely on spirituality so much that you neglect. It's this message again of not relying on the spirituality so much that you neglect the material. And so with health care, especially, as a person with chronic pain who is trying to get diagnoses right now, who was in the doctor's office this morning, spirituality is not a substitute for modern medicine. Spirituality can go hand in hand with modern medicine. I am not saying that there is no spiritual benefit to your physical health. I also had my spiritual awakening in the middle of a physical health scare, and it really helped a lot of my anxiety and stress about the entire thing of like trusting my intuition and trusting my spirit guides that I was going to be okay. But that said, spirituality is not a substitute for modern medicine. So that might not be a message for now. That might just be a message for later. It might just be something for you to keep in mind about a spiritual journey that you seem to be about to embark on. You know what I mean? But yeah, spirituality, not a substitute for modern medicine. And with the other piece on the High Priestess too, it may be hard for you not to share your experiences spiritually with anyone else. I think that's why this came out. I think I might have gone a little hard on encouraging you not to share anything about your spirituality with anyone. And I think I'm being reassured to tell you that's not what I mean. I don't mean not to share anything about your spirituality with anyone at all. I mean that you don't have to share anything about your spirituality with anyone who is going to oppose you or with anyone who you think you will have to fight with about it. Your spirituality is absolutely something that you can share. Just trust your intuition on who the people to share it with are. So, if you know that somebody has told you for pretty much your entire life or as long as you've known them that spirituality is a whole bunch of like bullshit mumbo jumbo whatever, that they don't believe in any of it, if they're the kind of people who would shame you for watching this video, they're probably not the people to share your spiritual journey and experiences or any information about that with. If it is somebody who is maybe who you look up to on your spiritual journey, or somebody who spirituality is something that you've had many conversations with about, absolutely. And you want to go to them for advice, or you want to go to them to have conversations, or you just want to to them to share about your spirituality, you are absolutely not being discouraged. It's not that your spiritual journey, that's what it is just because your spiritual journey is a journey that you have to walk does not mean that you have to walk it alone. This is a reminder that you can choose who you walk your spiritual journey with. That's what the key is about. Okay. So, if you are at the beginning of your spiritual journey, if you're still here, I'm assuming that this resonated. So you may not know about shadow work. You may know about shadow work. Either way, shadow work, I think, is something that might be valuable for you. Um, with this key here, with unlocking the truth, with being honest with yourself. I think that your spiritual journey will also help you along the way learn about, maybe not learn about, but internalize some of the things that you have locked away, some of the shadows that you have hidden. And I think this is part of that like growth and expansion message that we've been getting along this spiritual journey of like, this journey will help you unlock some of the bad habits and some of the things that you have hidden, some of the things that are keeping you, some of the things you've been chained to, some of the shadows, basically, that explain why you experience some of the things you experience. I would highly recommend that you look into shadow work. I think there's definitely a message here about there being some valuable things for you to learn and grow, when you sort of get at that hidden truth. Um, I'm not really good at explaining shadow work. Shadow work is one of those things that for me is like a lot of vibes. But feel free to look it up. I'm sure that you'll find plenty of resources on the good old Google. Basically, it is, your shadow self is like the aspects of your personality that are hidden from you or that you hide from, because you're, I don't want to say because you're ashamed of them. I think that that's been my experience with some of my shadows. Um, but they dictate some of the ways that you act. So basically, one of the ways you can do shadow work is whenever you have a strong emotional response to something that you don't know why, say like a friend double texts you and you get irrationally upset about it. Shadow work would be stopping and being like, okay, what is the reason that this upsets me? And what does being upset about this say about me? Um, what aspects of my personality is this potentially reflecting that I don't like about myself? And is that coloring my response? And sometimes the answer to whatever you're doing shadow work on may be, no, that does not color my response and this isn't about me. But I think that this journey will help you unlock the truth of some of the ways that you react. Now let's talk about the things that fell outside of your cards. These are things that I think, this one is half in and half out, which I actually think is really interesting. We'll do this one real quick. I'm getting your love life is not going to be negatively affected by your spiritual journey. This is a little romance piece. This is the love piece. Your spiritual journey is not going to affect your love life. And frankly, if you're with somebody that your spiritual journey affects your love life, if you're with somebody who makes fun of you for your spiritual journey, or if you're with somebody who, because you are experiencing a spiritual journey, is abusive or toxic or discouraging or negative in any way, if you are with somebody who doesn't want you to grow, that is a relationship that you should get out of because you could do so much better. Frankly, you could do so much better. Um, but yeah, with it falling outside of your cards, I'm getting that this should not affect your love life. Your spiritual growth should not affect your love life. And if it does, then you're not in the right relationship for you. Now, I want to talk about travel with the Eight of Wands in reverse. I think this is a message about, with it half in and half out too. I think this is another affirmation that the spiritual journey is going to take you to places you could never even have imagined. You would never even have expected this journey to take you to the material places that you're going to end up, and then also to the spiritual and emotional places that you're going to end up. I think that you're going on an adventure. And just because, and it might be a slower sort of adventure with spirituality, like it might be a slow spiritual experience or a slower journey. Um, but it is not going to be any less of an adventure, and it is not going to be any less exciting just because it doesn't move as fast as you necessarily want it to. And with the crossover too of the material and the physical, you may be traveling to events for spirituality that bring you closer to your soul family. With these on both sides, as like, it's funny how these fell as like almost mirroring. Um, yeah, pile one, I see you going along with the spiritual journey, and I see you ending up places that you never would have in a million years thought that it would have brought you, to people who you never would have thought it would have brought you to. Whew, all right, I think that wraps up the charms. I'm just gonna scoot these out of the way. I'm gonna put them over here. I don't really like the word charms for this deck, honestly. For this kit, I've heard the term Magpie Oracle, which I really, really love. Um, but now, lastly, we are gonna get some positive messages from your spirit guides to round us out. Alrighty. What do we have to tell pile one about their journey? What messages from spirit do we have for pile one? Alrighty. Whoa. We're supposed to get both of those. 1313. Starting fresh. Yeah. Step out of your comfort zone. You are about to create something meaningful. All your skills and talents will bring you auspicious profits. Build up your confidence and trust in your decisions. That's like, I love being right. I love getting affirmative affirmation from spirit. Starting fresh, encouragement, goals, foundations, creative ventures, communication. And with creative ventures specifically from Page of Cups, I think that's so interesting. All right, 0404, slow down over Eight of Wands. That makes sense. Balance, power, struggle, force, violence, hope, authority, ancestors, restlessness, low vibrations, warning. Pay close attention to the people in your life, your surroundings, and your physical health. Don't freak out. It's just a warning to be careful and awake to avoid any further issues. Communicate clearly and keep healthy boundaries. I think that's definitely an additional message of like these two in combination with each other as well, of like trusting your intuition, evaluating the situation. You know, it's that thing of people who get scammed, of they tell people who get scammed to if anyone is pressuring you to make a decision quickly, that is a red flag as a tactic for scammers. And so I think it's the same thing of like, if anyone is pressuring you to answer something, not even if anyone is pressuring you, but if you feel pressure to rush, stop, take a deep breath, slow down, and listen to your intuition. And then also, yeah, keep healthy boundaries of like, you know, it's funny, I almost am like, build a fence with your wands, you know? Oh, and the last one is, we got two. Alrighty. Alrighty, we'll start with this one. A lot of fours, too. Very called to pull out your tarots in four. The Emperor is number 4, 14 for faith. 2002, The Void. Longing, technology, ambition, genius, forward-thinking, stress, and depression. You have more control over your life than you realize. Learn and execute what interests you. Turn things around, it gets better with time. There are plenty of friends to make, so chill out, have fun, and open up. Go outside. Yeah. Letting your journey take you where it goes. Oh, pile one. I'm getting a sense that I've been getting the sense sort of passively, especially with the songs that played. They all have sort of like this like melancholy vibe, and like Ghosting by Mother Mother is like to me such a if you haven't heard these songs, I really highly recommend you listen to them, but especially Ghosting. I feel like things have been hard for you for a while, Pile One. Things have been difficult for you. And this spiritual awakening is not just your way forward, but I think it'll both remove some stress from you in things you don't have to worry about, and also remind you that you are the authority in your own life and you can decide. And then the last one is spiritual awakening. New beginnings, personal development, prioritizing creativity, and heading in the right direction. A new phase in a religious or spiritual quest. You're going through a spiritual awakening, which can feel like the dark night of the soul. You're on the path to enlightenment, and this too shall pass. Oh, this too shall pass is one of my favorite affirmative statements, maybe ever. It's a really wonderful reminder. If you haven't heard it, there's I forget if it's a folk tale or like a psalm or something. I don't think it's any of those. I was raised Jewish. But it was taught to us as a man a king who was looking at his city at war. And an advisor tells him this too shall pass, and he like looks at it and relaxes because it's not going to be war forever. And then the day that the king's son is born, his advisor looks at him and says, "This too shall pass," and he takes it as a reminder to appreciate the moment, to enjoy that moment to its fullest, because he's not going to have that forever either. There are always going to be things to celebrate, and there are always going to be things, moments of struggle. There are always going to be moments of struggle, and there are always going to be moments of joy. And anyways, I don't know the source of this too shall pass. That's how it was taught to me. I don't know if that is accurate, but I do know that is a very, very old saying. So yeah, I'm getting this as an encouragement, as a reminder for you that whatever things you are going through right now, oh, I just got this like heavy sensation in my chest, this like sinking feeling in my chest and in my gut. Things that you're going through right now may be very difficult. And one, if they are, I am so sorry. And two, it's okay to lean on this spiritual awakening as a way to get through it. Because you have a long journey ahead of you. And not a long journey ahead of you as in like you have like a dreaded, like you have so much to do ahead of you. But there is so much, this too shall pass, there are so many moments of celebration ahead of you. And there are so many moments, there are still moments of struggle as well. But you have a lot to look forward to. And let yourself explore spirituality. Let yourself explore things that bring you joy, instead of just dealing with the material, physical stuff all of the time. Let yourself go on this journey. Let yourself, with the hibernating bear too, let yourself come out of your cave. I just heard him coming out of my cave and I'm doing just fine. Let yourself laugh. Let yourself have jokes. Like, if joking is one of your coping mechanisms, if laughing is one of your coping mechanisms, then honestly, I'm like, don't rely too heavily on any of your coping mechanisms. Don't rely so heavily on any coping mechanisms that you don't get through anything. But don't be afraid to laugh. Don't be afraid to have fun. You are at the beginning of a new cycle. Oh. And these are just some messages for going into that. All right, I think you've got 3 of these, though. Doing your best is enough. I mean, that says it all. Oh, oh. Alrighty. I think that these two on the top are your main messages. I'm going to flash the ones underneath just in case, though. If you never jump, you'll never know. Always bring your own sunshine. Trust your intuition. Yeah, it's these two. I mean, I don't think I need to explain any of these for you. So pile one, I think these explain themselves, you know? All you ever have to do is do your best. But don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to take a leap of faith into this new cycle. You know what's best for you. And you know what? You know. Trust your intuition. You know what you got to do. Anyways, pile one, this is where I'm going to leave you. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And yeah, please, if you want to see more videos from me, please subscribe. If you watched this all the way to the end and got anything out of it, please leave a comment, let me know. And if you want to see more videos from me, please like, comment, subscribe, leave me some encouragement to do this again, because I have never done this before. So thank you so much. It was lovely to work with you, Pile One. And I hope that I'm wishing you great luck with the rest of your journey. So I'm wishing you health and happiness. Thank you, Pile One. Bye. Hi, Pile Two, and welcome to your reading. So if you're here, you picked the Amazonite Merkaba star, which I'm just going to put that right over there. And we're just going to pull your tarot out of frame. It's funny, this deck was a gift, and I have never been called to read for it for myself. Sorry, I was just making sure. I know I shuffled it, but I was making sure it was well shuffled. I've never been called to read with it for myself, so this is actually the first time that I'm going to be doing a reading through that deck. So, the songs that played while your oracle cards were coming out were Look Who's Inside Again by Bo Burnham, Victoria by Jukebox the Ghost, She Wants Me to Be Loved by the Happy Fits, and Campus by Vampire Weekend. Just going to leave that there in the frame. And now we're going to get to your oracles. So for each of these readings, I did a unique oracle deck. So everybody had these cards from these decks in their readings. And then for pile two, you got the Green Witch Oracle. I'm going to link all of the decks that I used, or I'm going to put the names of all the decks that I used in the description box. But you got unique cards from the Green Witch Oracle. And you actually got two of them, which was, I was only planning on pulling one. So you got an extra one with that. So let's get started. You got the Mask to start with. And you got the Tailor and Koi Fish. I'm just going to scoot everybody over this way. And then you got Home. Got the Cauldron. You got Fly Agaric. And you also got New Moon, Creation, Intention, Potential, and Transits, Insight, Movement, and Change. So, my first impression, especially with the songs that played with your reading, pile two, let me make sure I'm recording. We're going, good. Especially with the songs that came out during your oracle shuffle. Those songs were all very like theatric, but kind of sad. Especially She Wants Me to Be Loved by the Happy Fits, Look Who's Inside Again by Bo Burnham. I think that Bo Burnham actually is a really good descriptor for your energy. It's especially interesting too, with the music, because I was playing off of like a single playlist. I'm a Spotify user. And I was playing off of my day list, and the songs that played in some of the previous piles were like Ghosting by Mother Mother. And then we had sad songs again for the pulls after you. But these four songs that played while I was pulling out yours were very like, they were bouncy and upbeat, but they were like, they had really sad messages. And so I think that's really interesting that it fits with with the energy that you're in now. With the mask especially, I'm like, we'll start there. With the theatrical energy, with the mask, that makes sense. I think that you are a class clown type. And as a class clown type, I think that you use humor to get through a lot of what it is that you need to get through. And I also am getting with the cauldron, with the tailor, with home, especially too, with this image for home, which actually looks like two pieces of tape to me. I'm getting that you're trying to create a situation that you're happier with. And in the meantime, you are sort of covering with humor how you're really feeling about things. I am going to read about the koi fish, and then I also want to read about fly agaric. And I'll read for the cauldron too while I'm in there. But let's start here. Koi fish. I am so bad at finding Oracle. There we go. 55. Oh. Repeating numbers there. I wonder if there are any other 5s on here. 10, which is like a multiple of 5. Although, I mean, in numerology, it reduces to 1. That's kind of nice, though, as a new beginning with transits. Oh, and then my Roman numerals are really bad, but I think L is 50, but X is 10. So that would make that 61. I think. My Roman numerals are terrible, y'all. I'm good at math. I'm not good at Roman math. That's weird. I wasn't called to make jokes in the previous piles, but in this pile suddenly I'm like leaning into it. Anyways, koi fish. In Japanese myth, the koi fish swims upstream again. The koi fish swims upstream along the Yellow River. Once it conquers its many challenges and reaches the river's head, it transforms into a majestic dragon. The Japanese view the koi fish as a symbol of aspiration and good fortune, which is manifest through determination and hard work. You have the power to transform your life. You are ready to transform. Good prosperity and wealth are on the way. Oh, that's a great message, especially with the tailor. I know it says attention to detail and pride, but I'm getting with this that you're creating, with the cauldron too. You're creating, you're trying to make this situation. So to have koi fish with that really positive message of like you have the power through determination and hard work to manifest and transform your life, that's a fantastic additional message. Now let me see for Greenwich. Sometimes I'm okay at the herbs that come out. I'm not always great with the other things that come out in this deck. The cauldron is 21, fly agaric is 45. 21. No witch's kitchen is complete without a cauldron, a little magical place inside which everything boils, melts, blends together, and transforms. Alchemical processes happen in the cauldron. By mixing together the right ingredient in the correct amounts, you will create something that is more than the sum of its parts. The sound of the pan over the fire, cooking slowly, takes us back to a safe space, a refuge in which to shelter. If this is your card, it is time for you to find a cozy space where you can be looked after, lulled, and nourished with love. Yeah, that's the energy that you're trying to create. That's the energy that you're trying to curtail is the word that I'm getting. I don't know if that's necessarily the right word though, but it is the energy that you're trying to get into. It's the energy that you're trying to make in your life. And now 45, I believe, was fly agaric. There we go. With their red cap and white dots, fly agarics are the fungi of fairy tales. Used by shamans for centuries, they were used to travel between worlds. It is no coincidence that the mushroom of the caterpillar from Alice in Wonderland was a fly agaric. A poisonous mushroom that causes hallucinations, it is a symbol of visions and the ability to widen your perspective. This card is telling you that you must try to reach a more overall vision of the situation by observing it. Yeah, that makes sense to me. Obviously, I think that if you're going to have the message with a mask in it, a huge portion of that is going to be taking off the mask, unmasking yourself. Because I think that you think that this mask is protecting you from it's a coping mechanism. I think that you think that this mask is preventing you from falling into this dark. But actually, I think that the mask is also keeping you in the dark. When you're like wearing a mask and it's hard to see through, not like a masquerade mask, but you know, like a mascot mask or something. Like there are masks that are really difficult to see through. And I think that with the mask on, I think that you're actually keeping yourself in these shadows more. I think you're keeping yourself away from all of this. And I think that with the new moon, I think that your new beginning really comes in removing that mask from and removing that mask in general. And I think that a good way for you to do that would be, it's funny, I'm pulling off of like Look Who's Inside Again by Bo Burnham, but I think that looking at the things that you want to joke about and looking at the jokes that you're making and the jokes that you make, I think that examining the jokes is a great start for you to figure out, okay, I'm coping with this thing by making jokes. And it's almost like shadow work, you know, where it's like you're coping with this thing through jokes. And the jokes are going to highlight to you what things you need to work on. So if you're making jokes to get through the workday of like, if you're making jokes about just like getting through the workday and like just surviving, I have I am on medical leave from work right now, but I have a coworker where there's that meme that's like checking in, doing bad, checking in, still doing bad. And I have a coworker who we would make that joke when we worked together. Um, and truly, she quit shortly after that. Um, and her life was so much better after that. And she didn't really need the job. It wasn't, you know, that wasn't the job that she needed. Her other job paid her more. And it was a second job that she was working, and she quit and she was much happier. And so I think that if you look at the things that you're making jokes about, you know, if you're making jokes about like just getting through the workday like that, um, examining that situation and going, okay, what in that situation do I have the power to change? How can I tailor this situation to better serve me? What details about this situation can I change? And whether that is your own attitude or dealing with somebody else or something outside of the situation, something that's not you. I think that looking at that clearly without trying to look at it through the lens of humor will help you create a more unified, better situation for you. And I think that changing this method of looking at the world, changing this view that you have of your experiences, changing this view that you have of the world, I think will really bring about a new beginning for you. Uh, okay, here we go. Here you are. There you are. I think that'll bring about a new beginning for you. And not only will that bring about a new beginning for you in the way that you deal with things, but I think that'll bring about a new beginning for you in the situation that you want to be in the situation that you're trying to create for yourself. So if you're at a shitty job that you cope with jokes, just to keep on going with that metaphor, if you're at a shitty job that you cope with jokes to get through, and the situation is clearly not serving you, and you've known that for a while, but you're just trying to cope with it because you know the end's in sight, you know? Looking at the situation that you're almost out of and going, okay, well, what can I do to improve this situation for myself now? What details can I change about this? Is interacting with this one person really stressing me out? Do I need to interact with this one person in the way that I am? Is there a project or a deadline that is really weighing down on me that I don't know if I'm going to make, and I keep making jokes about making this deadline? Do I just need to ask somebody to extend that deadline? Um, is this job affecting me in the amount of stress that I bring home? Is this situation stressing me out when I'm not in this situation? Okay, what can I do about that? I think that all of those things will. I think all those things will help you feel more at home in yourself. Instead of just joking about the issues and leaving them there, instead saying, okay, what are the issues that I'm joking about? Why am I, and what can I do about them? I think that'll really help, that'll serve you in a really positive way. I'm going to be honest, pile two, your oracles were pretty straightforward. We're going to move into the tarot. Sorry, I was just curious to see. I need a new chair in here. The one that I have right now is very noisy. Oh my god, and I didn't even pile these up. We're going to leave the cauldron up top. Actually, no, you know what? I think we're going to leave the mask up top for you guys. I think we want the mask looking at us while we read for the tarot. Yeah, the chair that I'm using is very noisy. And And when I pull up to look at my camera, it's pretty loud, sorry. Ooh. And while I'm shuffling, thank you so much for clicking in. Thank you for watching. And I almost want to say sorry, you know, I think that the messages were kind of harsh. Interesting with the Ace of Swords, that was big in the last pile too. The messages came out a little bit harsh, but I think that you, as a person who's masking, who's coping with the jokes, who that's your coping mechanism, I think that the hard truth really benefits you specifically. And if this doesn't sound like your personality, if this is not resonating, check out one of the other piles. There may be a message in there for you. But this energy is very specific. This is very like class clown energy. So if that's you, I would recommend, or if that resonated with some part of you, I would recommend sticking around for the messages from your spirit guides. Let's get one last shuffle on these bad boys. Alrighty. Messages from pile 2's spirit guides. Alrighty. I think the whole deck is upside down right now. Okay. Yeah. Messages from pile 2's spirit guides. That is definitely one of them. The 5 of Swords. Interesting. That's an interesting 5 of Swords. Oh, somebody flipped upside down. The Hermit. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Messages. These cards want to talk to you, bud. Is that the 4 of Cups? My Roman numerals, again, not excellent. 1 through 10 are generally kind of okay. I think that's the 4 of Cups. Since I've never read with these cards before, I'm now getting a chance to look at the artwork in a way that I hadn't. Oh, the Empress. That's another energy that makes sense for you. There's a lot of snakes on this on these cards. Oh, and then the World. Some other cards came out with them. I'm not going to take them, but I am going to show them to you just in case you get any messages from them. The 9 of Swords, the Magician, the Wheel of Fortune. The Wheel of Fortune was on the back of the deck at the beginning, by the way. The 2 of Cups, and the Emperor. I'm not going to take those. I'm going to just shuffle them back in. And if they're meant to come out, they will. Let's get some more messages for pile 2. The 3 of Swords. Yeah. Oh, this is making so much sense. The Knight of Pentacles. And you got 2 more. See, I said they would come back out if they were supposed to come back out. 2 of Cups. The Emperor. I think that I think you're supposed to get 10, which I was shuffling out. I shuffled out 8 for the last pile. Let's get some more in here. I'll recenter these in a second. If you're like me, that's bothering you. Whoa, somebody came out. Oh, the Star. Oh, that's nice. Boy, this deck is chatty. Under the Star, the Tower also flipped out. I think we are supposed to take... Boy, you've got chatty cards. Okay. You know what? I'm just going to pop the Tower on the back of the deck and leave that right over here. There we go. Okay. And then I'm going to scoot everybody over and hope that we are still centered. Okay. So, this makes a lot of sense. I'm going to come right out with it. Some of this already came through in your oracle cards. Some of this energy already made itself clear that this was what was going on. But yeah, you need to spend some time with yourself. Pile 2. I'm not getting the sense that you're not happy with who you are as a person or anything like that, but I'm getting the sense that you avoid a lot of the internal things that you go through, or the internal reactions to things that you go through or things that you've been through. You know, it's funny, in the last pile I also recommended shadow work for them. And I saw a couple of cards overlapping between this reading and the last reading, even though I used 2 different decks. So if you were called to read pile 1, I don't think that this energy, there's certainly nothing in this energy that contradicts the last energy. But so if you were called to watch it, I think that that's definitely makes sense. There's a need for balance, I will say. There's definitely a need for balance in your life. And I'm getting the sense that there's a lot of, it's funny I didn't get any wands because I'm getting a sense that you're already doing a lot of action. I think you might be a person who's very go, 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 go. And I think that this spread is sort of encouraging you to slow down. Take a minute. Because you need to spend some time with yourself. You need to examine yourself, even on this Empress card too, with like the figure who is holding this smaller figure in her hand, you know, and sort of gently studying her, cradling her even with her hand. I'm like, I think you need, that's the energy you need, except you're both the figures on that card. And with the 4 of Cups, I think that this is the new opportunity that you're getting. Like, this is your Fool energy, is like the Fool of like the new beginning of the tarot, of like examining this, spending this time with yourself. This will bring you to your new beginning. That's what it is. This will bring you, studying the cups that you have, studying your emotions, studying your feelings. I think that'll really help you, especially with 5 of Swords, of like figuring out which swords serve you. It's funny, normally 5 of Swords reads very differently to me than this one, but this is a really interesting 5 of Swords. I'm getting a message that it might be difficult for you to study your life, and this might be the reason that you joke about it, because you're just not happy with where you are. But you not being happy with where you are doesn't mean that you're not... It doesn't mean that you're not in a good place, or that even if you aren't in a good place, it doesn't mean that you can't do something to get out of it. You are coming to the end of a cycle, and this is the end of the cycle that will bring you into the new cycle, is this examination, this spending time with yourself and trying to balance, trying to examine old wounds, trying to figure out who left those swords in you, and whether or not they or the swords are something to leave behind. I'm definitely getting a message about, I mean, this is all examining your past wounds. And I think that one of the reasons you may struggle with examining your past wounds, one of the reasons you may struggle with this 3 of Swords, with the 4 of Cups, with the 5 of Swords, one of the reasons you may struggle with this is that you think that you haven't done a good job, or that you think that your current situation is your fault. And I think that when you examine that situation a little more, and when you try to examine that situation honestly, I think that's the tower. There's some towers that need to come down. And the tower that needs to come down is one, the blame of yourself in regards to where you are. You are not where you are in your life because of some failing on your own part. And I think that you need to hear that. But you're not where you are in your life because you've failed. You're where you are in your life because this is the part of your journey that you're at. And one of the ways, the fastest way for you to get out of the space that you are in your journey, which pretty clearly seems to be a space that you don't want to be in, one of the fastest ways out of this journey is for you to be honest with yourself. And I want to be really clear, Pile 2, that being honest with yourself does not mean being hard on yourself. Because I think under that mask of humor, I think that you are a person who beats yourself up a little bit. So being honest with yourself does not mean being hard on yourself. Being honest with yourself for you may mean going, okay, I'm not happy with where I am right now. This is not where I want to be. And being here right now, I'm not here because of something that I did. I'm not here because I deserve to be here. It is not my fault that I'm in the current situation that I'm in my life, or the current cycle that I'm in my life. It's not my fault that I'm there right now. But there are things that I can do about it. What can I do to get out of this situation and be in a better situation? And I think that just making that plan of like trying to find that balance, and examining your old wounds too. I'm going to recommend shadow work again, but examining the old wounds, examining the shadows that might be keeping you trapped with these swords, with this old energy, with this trauma, examining those shadows and thinking about, okay, which of those do I need to leave behind? Which of these towers do I need to knock down? I think that'll really serve you in going into the next cycle of your life. And the next cycle of your life looks beautiful. I love that. I love that, like, that, like, some upbeat, fun, like, dancey music played. To me, that music is very fun and upbeat. I don't know if my audio picked it up, but I hope it did. But I think it's going to really lead you into some beautiful new experiences. Two of Cups are always, like, they're the real lovers of the tarot for me, are the Two of Cups. I think you're going to meet new people. I think you're going to enter into situations that make you happy. I think you're going to be an authority in your own life. And I think that you are going to fight for a material and physical situation that is better for you. I didn't say this about the tower yet, but I do want to say it about the tower. I find that, especially for people who are familiar with the tarot, some of them find tower moments, some people find tower moments really scary. But the thing about a tower moment is that a tower moment is necessary. A tower comes down because the foundation wasn't stable. That's why the tower crumbles. Excuse me. And with this tower too, specifically with the breaking off at the top, we're going to talk about Six of Pentacles too. I want to talk about her in a second. But with the tower breaking off at the top, it's not like your entire foundation is unstable. And that, I think, is where that message of being honest, not meaning blaming yourself or being hard on yourself. Like, your foundation isn't that bad. There's just a couple of things that have to change. You know, there's a couple of things that you need to there's a couple of towers that you need to knock down, sure, but you don't have to lose the whole tower. You can just lose like the top of it a little bit. There's just a couple of things that I think you would be surprised how few adjustments it can take to really bring you into this better energy. I'm gonna scoot everyone over and we're gonna put you here. Yep, that's right. There we go. Okay. Six of Pentacles. We're gonna talk about Six of Pentacles before we talk about the Star. But Six of Pentacles is like is charity and is generosity. And I'm going to be honest, pile two, all of these cards with multiple figures, except for maybe Two of Cups. I think that Two of Cups might represent another person coming into your life. Um, Six of Pentacles, these are both you. These are both you, pile two. This is you being generous. This is you being charitable. This is you being kind to yourself. Especially with the inner, oh, with the small child on this card. I think that you need to, yeah, I think that you need to get in touch with your inner child. And with the Empress and the Emperor, I think there's a strong message here about parenting yourself the way that you need to be parented. And whether you're a person who has a good relationship with your parents or a difficult relationship with your parents, every parent fucks up, you know, every parent makes mistakes. And some people, you may be a person who can rely on your parents, you may be a person who can't rely on your parents. Either way, there's something to be said for being gentle with yourself and parenting yourself, gentle parenting yourself the way that you need. I think that you need some gentle parenting for yourself. I think that you need to internally gentle parent your inner child and your adult, your inner adult. But that kindness with yourself, that generosity with yourself, will help you actually really do the work that you need to be doing. And this work is maybe not solo work. This is the kind of work you absolutely can I more than recommend doing this kind of work with a therapist. Any kind of work. I'm not saying it feels awkward to go on the internet and be like, you need therapy, person I've never met. And that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that any kind of internal work that you're doing to heal past wounds and traumas, it can be beneficial to do that in a safe space. If you are going to interact with trauma and past wounds and that kind of thing, and if you want to do some emotional healing, doing that with a therapist is more than advisable. This is an internal thing that you need. This is an internal wound that you need to heal, is really what I'm getting at. This is not something that your friends can fix for you. This is not something that buying a product will fix for you. This is not something that getting a new job will fix for you. Those things may all be things that are helpful. If your job situation is bad, if your friends are there for you, if you find a product that legitimately will help you with what you're going through, it's not to say that those things aren't going to work, but there is an internal wound that you need to heal under all of those things. And that's with Three of Swords here too. There are internal wounds that you need to heal under those things. And that is part of your journey. You know, that's part of your cycle. And that's part of what's going to bring you out of this cycle and into this next cycle. Because I think that you'll find that a lot of these wounds are hurting you more than you knew. And those are the towers that need to come down. And it's tempting to hide from that work. You know, it's tempting to not do that work. It's tempting to be like, Five of Swords sometimes gives me like, oh, well, I'll just pack up my ball and go home and then nobody can play. And it can be tempting to run from that kind of work. But really, you need to journey further into it. And journeying further into it and being gentle and kind and generous to and with yourself for it will only lead you to a better situation. And there is so much hope in your future. There are so many blessings in your future. I mean, that home that we talked about in your oracles, you know, that home is out there. Um, and that home isn't out there waiting for you if you just do the work. That home is something that you are going to bring with the work that you do on yourself. You can bring yourself to that home by letting your light shine instead of hiding behind that mask. By going inside and figuring out what shadows you're letting dampen that light and freeing yourself of them. Yeah. Okay. Charms time. Okay. these all make so much sense. Okay. Ugh. All right. So, I'm not surprised that the other charm fell mostly outside of the casting area. I usually just cast directly on my reading, and usually that's very helpful. Not surprised that the other card came out mostly, the other charm, the other piece, the piece for other. The piece for others came out mostly outside. This is really work that you're not going to be doing mostly with other people. This is work that you're mostly going to be doing by yourself. There might be other people, with it being like a little bit on the Hermit card, like there might be other people who can help you with advice or who can guide you through this. Again, just going to bring up, if you're seeing a therapist, it may be that will, I think therapy helps everyone. So I'm not going to say therapy is not going to be helpful. I think therapy is just a helpful thing to go through when you dedicate yourself to it. But this is work that you're going to have to do internally. This is not work that somebody else can do for you. And also, with these two pieces together, once you start mending the things that you have figured out, once you've figured out the cups that you have been masking, once you figure out the emotions that you have been hiding from, and once you start examining what's going on, I really think that the changes that you will go through, the healing, the healing and changes, the healing that you are going to go through is going to change you so rapidly. This is a piece of fungerite, which happens when lightning strikes sand. It turns into like this stone thing. And with it, like, oh my God, it's like wedged in here. I just pulled this out the other day. This was not wedged in here recently. So with the way that it was like wedged into the spool, I'm like, this fast change and healing are inseparable. That is the way forward for you for sure. With the Empress, with the thimble, I think what I'm getting is that you think that you're protecting yourself by not doing this examination. And that's why you have this mask on, is that you think that this is protecting you. You think this mask is protecting you. And it's not. It's keeping you from a lot of things. And with the coin, with the coin tails up and not heads up, with the coin, I really think sometimes the coin is spiritually, is divinely guided, or fated or not fated, I would say. Fated or not fated. And I think it's almost like getting a crossroads with the Empress of like, you gotta choose to do this gently. It is a choice to do this work gently. The work's gonna get done. You're gonna do this work either way. That's what it is. You're gonna do this work either way. But choosing to do it kindly, choosing to do this work gently, and in this same energy that I was talking about, and with kindness to yourself, that's really the protection that you need. And learning how to be kind with yourself, that's going to be good armor for the future, too. And with the world, you have so much adventure ahead of you. You have so much adventure ahead of you. And embodying this genuine attitude rather than this, like, this mask that you think will protect you, that is going to open up your future. That is going to open your world up so much, internally and externally. It's going to open you up to so much. And with Knight of Pentacles too, with the self charm. Now we're in the changes that you're going to make, and with the changes that you're going to make, it's like you're going to fight for your own situation, and you're going to know that you're doing that. You're going to know you're doing the right thing. You're going to be able to do that confidently. And it'll pay off. It'll pay off. You will have things to protect. Materially, you will have that home to protect. And with Two of Cups, with the 4 rolling out with it, with the many, the Two of Cups, I think, isn't just, it may be romantic. You know, this may be a romantic, this may be a new romantic opportunity. But I think that more than likely, even if it is a romantic opportunity, well, whether or not it is a romantic opportunity, I think that you have so many new people coming into your life who you're really going to bond with. Like, so many people coming into your life that are going to be your soul family. I think that your soul family is out there waiting for you. And I don't want to say that they're waiting for the you that you can be, because the you that you can be is the you that you are now too. But becoming this version, becoming becoming a person who is kinder to themselves and more gentle with themselves and more honest with themselves will bring you into situations with the people who you've been seeking out consciously or subconsciously, but with the people who will become your family is really what it is, with your soul family. It'll bring you into union with your soul family when you become a version of yourself that is kinder to yourself. And I think that it's going to bring you into an energy where you don't lie to yourself anymore. And whether that's lying to yourself about the masks that you're wearing or why you're wearing the masks or the trauma that you've gone through or the healing that you need to do, or whether that's lying to yourself about those things being your fault, whether it's lying to yourself about you just not being good enough, which is not the situation. That dishonesty is on its way out. That deception is on its way out. You are not going to be a person who lies to yourself in a way that hurts you anymore. Yeah. All right, I think that you especially need some positive messages, pile 2. Let's I think we're just going to leave these alone for now, actually, and we'll figure out the situation on arranging these after that. Whoa. Come on, positive messages for pile 2, Angela. All right. Let's get some positive messages for pile 2. Oh. 6666. Great blessings, self-love, boundaries, needs, good vibes, wisdom, understanding, letting go. Nurture yourself, your needs, desires, and boundaries. Let go of things that are weighing you down. Make space for something meaningful and expand your spirit to all areas of your life. That big love opportunity or job needs to squeeze in somewhere. Yeah. Oh, that's I love affirmation. I love when I'm right. But yeah, you're gonna, when you clear out this negative energy, you'll be making space for positivity. Um, I love that. That big love opportunity or job needs to squeeze in somewhere. Like, yeah, you're going to be making room for your soul family when you get rid of the trauma you've been hoarding that's been keeping you from finding finding the home you desire. Here's how we're going to do. That's how we're going to do. There we go. Oh, whoa. Now they're flying out. 2112. It's up to you. Someone watching over you. Good fortune, unforeseen forces, direction. Even if it seems like you're not making any meaningful progress, things are moving in the right direction. If you see this number, it's a sign that everything will work out in your favor and your dreams will come true soon. And 1441, life goals, missions, sense of self, honesty, important projects. It's that time of intense self-development. Focus your mind on your craft. You already have what it takes to succeed, but practice makes you a master. It also serves to find your true purpose. Leveling up in your career or business is a priority right now. Yeah, I'm definitely getting that you're not happy with, it might not be a job, pile two. Um, but you're unhappy with some situation. And your progress in that is blessed. You're gonna get out of that situation. I'm gonna be honest, pile too. You're gonna get out of that situation whether you do this work or not. Whether or not you do the positive work on your personality, you are not going to be in your current situation forever. But clearing out this baggage that you've been carrying around, I'm surprised you didn't get Six of Swords. Clearing out this baggage that you've been carrying around will make so much room for growth so much quicker than it's been going right now. And I think that with this card, with these two, that's why I keep almost calling them cards, but with those symbols too, with those charms too, with those pieces too, um, it might seem for a while like you're just digging around in the muck of trauma, uh, but even if it seems like you're not like things aren't making like you're not making any meaningful progress, things are moving in the right direction. Doing that work is better for you anyways, and that is going to help you bring it's going to help bring you the energy that you are seeking out, that home that you want, that feeling of security and stability that home represents. Yeah, it's that time of intense self-development. Let's give these one more good shuffle. Get some last parting words from Spirit for pile two. Some final positivity from Spirit for pile two. Whoa! A grateful heart is a magnet for miracles. Oh. Retreat is the solution. Oh. Keep shining. The world needs your light. And let's get one more. I think you need some extra positive soul reminder cards. Oh. Create the life of your dreams. Oh, I love being right. And then this one also came out. You are not alone. Yeah, just because this is work that you should be doing internally doesn't mean that you're alone. You have so many blessings, pile too. I mean, I really am. Like your soul family's higher selves are with you, your spirit guides are with you. If there's somebody specific you're thinking of right now, wondering if they're with you, they are. You are not alone. And moths are a symbol of change. Moths are a symbol of. I mean, they go from caterpillar to moth or caterpillar to butterfly. They're a symbol of growth and change. And I think that with a grateful heart as a magnet for miracles, I think that you also need to be grateful for yourself. In fact, I'm going to say right now, I want you to thank yourself. I want you to say, thank you, me, for taking care of me. And I want you to genuinely thank yourself for taking care of yourself without any caveats, no buts, no thank you for taking care of me as well as you can. Or this is not this is not like, oh, well, you did your best even though it wasn't as good as I wanted. None of that, none of that. Just honestly be grateful to yourself for taking care of yourself. And if that is disingenuine in the way that it feels, that I think is one of the first things that you need to work on. But yeah, you are heading towards the life of your dreams, Kyle, too. I believe in you. You can do it. No, you will do it. You will do it, Kyle, too. Thank you so much for joining me. And thank you for letting me work with you. I really appreciate the opportunity. Thank you for clicking in. If this resonated with you or if you found it helpful in any way, please, please, please leave a like or a comment or a subscribe just to interact with it in some way so that I know that that this message reached somebody who was supposed to hear it. And you know, all it takes is one comment, one interaction. It's all it takes is knowing that this was helpful to one person for me to continue. You know. So, anyways, yeah, interact with us in some way if you want me to know that you want more readings from me. Please feel free, like, comment, subscribe. Um, and pile two, I am wishing you all the best in the work that you are going to do in creating that home for yourself and in your future. Be happy, be healthy, and thank you. Bye. Hi there, pile three, and welcome to your reading. If you're here, you picked the yellow calcite carved moon, which I'm just going to leave right over there, and the Three Trees Tarot, which I have read with before, so is definitely shuffled. We're just going to leave that right off to the side. So, for each of these, oh, your songs, that's right. I'll say this real quick. For each of these piles, I picked a unique deck. Each of these piles had one extra oracle card from an individual deck. So your extra individual deck was Woodland Wardens. So you have a card from a deck that I didn't use for any of the other piles. So that's in here as well. You also, your cards were damn chatty. Spirit has a lot to say to you. I was only supposed to get one of these. I was only supposed to get one of these, and I was only supposed to get two of these. And you got extras from all of those. So, anyways, we'll get into that in just a second. But for starters, we're going to worry about your songs. So, the songs that played during your readings were, during your Oracle Shuffle, was Snow by Ricky Montgomery, Love at First Sight by the Brobecks, and Turn the Lights Off by Tally Hall. And then also I had Ophelia by the Lumineers stuck in my head while I was shuffling for you. We're going to leave you right over there for now. Actually, Ophelia was stuck in my head right after, while I was putting your pile like together and getting everything organized for you. But it was stuck in my head enough that I wanted to write it down. So let's get started. I wanted to start with this. With the father. What do I want to do next? Okay. I think it's this. The deer and oat. The prophet. Come on. And then let's get these in the middle. Had Psyche, Soul, Consciousness, and Mind. Imam Coeli, which is Nadir, Origins, Inner Child. And then Square, which is Competition, Tension, and Disharmony. And then we had Knowledge and Divine Masculine. I actually think we're going to do it like this. And I want these. The Musician and the Hunter in reverse. Here we go. And perfect. Everyone's in frame. Okay. All right. I'm going to start with the prophet. The prophet feels a little bit like a self-fulfilling prophecy. That's what this is striking me as at the moment, especially with the snake wrapped around the prophet. We're Or it feels very gently about the snake, but it's still a snake. And with knowledge too, it seems very much like something. I'm getting that something happened. Maybe not specifically a breakup, but an ending of some kind. Um, an ending came about that you knew was coming. And I'm getting that you rather stubbornly resisted. An ending came about that you pretty stubbornly resisted. Um, and with psyche too, with consciousness, with soul, with mind. Again, you knew. Um, that came out rather scolding. Uh, and I think that's an energy from you that I'm channeling of like, I'm getting the sense that you are being very abrasive with yourself. That this is the father and the divine masculine is like, you're being really hard on yourself. Oh, interesting that they're both two, from two different decks. Anyways, but you're being very hard on yourself. You're like, you knew this was coming. You were well aware that this was coming. Um, and I think you're being really hard on yourself about that. That energy is not serving you though. I'm going to read about the deer note. There we go. The shy and gentle fellow deer is known for its white spots and the broad velvety antlers it sheds and regrows each year. Similarly, oats are symbols of restorative nutrition. Even in poor soil, oats can flourish, providing hearty sustenance. Upright, rest and recharge. Moderation and mindfulness are key for you to recover, or key as you recover from trauma or a period of intense exertion. How do I rest and recharge? What practices nourish my soul? This makes sense to me too. With the hunter, with the musician, with the deer and oat too, I'm getting the sense that this situation that ended, which again I really don't think is specifically a romantic breakup. It may be a breakup of some kind. It may be an ending of some kind, but I don't think it's a romantic. Uh, I don't think it's. It may be for some of you a romantic relationship that ended, but I'm getting the sense that it's a kind of relationship that you put a lot of work into. It's the kind of relationship really that you really tried to grow, and that's also the father and divine masculine. You really tried to like parent. And with the hunter in reverse, I think it's a situation that you really sought after, and even though you knew the end. And now I think you're beating yourself up about it. And instead of beating yourself up about it, instead of trying to hang yourself over it, you know what I mean? I think that what would really benefit you is trying to heal from it. Is going, okay, what do I need? That's inner child, trying to look at your inner child and say, okay, what is it that I need? Trying to parent yourself in a different way. Trying to parent rather than in a way that's like, rather than going, okay, what lesson do I need to learn from this? I'm not saying that there aren't lessons to learn from this situation, but instead of just focusing on the lessons that you need to learn from this situation, there's also like, I think you need a pat on the back and a hug, and like comfort is part of healing too. I think that there's nothing wrong with comfort. Um, and I think that this, one of the reasons this is coming through so muddled, I think, is that you have a lot of mixed feelings around the situation because you're blaming yourself because you knew how it was going to end and you knew that it was going to end and then you pushed anyways, and you really care about this person who things ended with, but you're also kind of mad at them because things ended and that's never clean, and so you're grateful that you got to be in whatever kind of relationship it was with this person, but you're mad that it's over, and it's just like, disharmony. There's a lot going on right now. There's a lot of emotional processing that I think you need to do. Um, and I also think that you need to hear that it is okay. It's okay to have multiple conflicting feelings about a thing. You know, it's okay to be like, I am pissed at myself and I'm pissed at this other person and I think that I handled things poorly and I could have handled them better, but I also handled them as best as I could, and that's okay. And I'm grateful to this person because I got to meet them and I got to have them in my life. And I'm mad at them because I want them to be in my life still, or maybe even that they should still be in my life. Um, and I just, it's okay to have all of those feelings. All of those things can be true. Some of those things can be true. Some of those things can be not true. But all of those things can be true. Pile three. It's it's just one of the things that sucks about endings. Um, I want to read about the musician and the hunter, which I don't normally do the card meetings in the Citadel Oracle because I find them to be pretty clear. Um, but I don't know. I'm being called to read the magician and the hunter, so I'm gonna go ahead and guess that there are probably some messages in here for you. 94 and 132. I guess we're doing 132 first. The musician is the dawn that follows the night, the hopeful optimism after the period of struggle. After facing your problems, you're now in alignment with your true self, or will be soon, and it's time to appreciate yourself for the struggles that you've come through. Given your achievements, you're also in a unique position to provide inspiration to others who are still facing their own personal darkness. You know what's interesting is I don't actually usually get literal messages from these, but if you are a musician, making music, or if you are a creative type in any way, letting this come through in the things that you create in your creations, making creations about this situation, um, will really benefit you. Whether those creations are things that you share or things that you keep to yourself. Either way, I think that letting yourself explore those feelings through creation would be really helpful for you. And I think that it is something that would absolutely help other people, but I think that it's important to recognize that that is also going to help you heal if you're a creative type. And even if you haven't been a creative type before, giving yourself the freedom to explore that creativity, I think would be really good for you in this situation. And I think that it'll help you work through a lot of the things that you need to work through, frankly. Um, And if you are not already, I think that you may not already be in the after facing your problems, you're now in alignment with your true self. I think that you are either heading there or you will be, like, you're heading there. You will be there soon. But the energy that I'm getting from you is not there yet. I think you have some more healing to do before you get there, but this is the light at the end of the tunnel. You know what I mean? Is this is the energy that you're heading into. That's the energy you're embarking upon. Come on, Hunter. Come on, Hunter. There we go. It's time to, I'm going to read the upright and then the reversed because apparently the upright applies to the reversed. It's time to put your head down and block out all distractions. The forest may be beautiful, but stopping to admire the view won't get you any closer to your goal. You are the hunter right now. Your path is clear, your prey is in sight. No matter how tempting slowing down for a moment may seem, now is not the time. Maintain your focus and determination to complete your task. Reversed. In the reversed position, the advice of the upright card still applies. However, this is a warning to keep an eye on the balance of things. If you only ever focus on your quarry, you'll spend your whole life unaware that the forest exists. You haven't stopped to appreciate your surroundings recently. Take a breather. Yeah, that makes sense. It's giving the hermit. It's giving the hermit. I think that you need to embody your hermit energy for a little bit. I think you need to explore all of these feelings. Um, I think I want to read the prophet for you as well. But yeah, I think that you need to explore all of these feelings, and I think that that will bring you the healing and the clarity, the harmony, um, that you will benefit from embodying. 21 for the Prophet. Humanity has always been drawn in by symbols. They stick with us, creating a language of their own. Beware of high tide, skip the 13th floor, toss salt over his shoulder. The Prophet knows the value of these signs. They appear subtle, whispering small curses and boons to those who listen. The Prophet knows where to look for those signs both in the external and internal worlds. She befriends the snake. She takes on an otherworldly air. She has a pearl of profound wisdom from which you can learn when you are ready to ask and receive. Meanings. Follow the signs you are receiving. Listen to the voices inside you. Yeah. Yeah, I think that with these messages of self-fulfilling prophecy, of knowing what was going to happen, I think that there is, you have the opportunity to create a new prophecy where you pay attention to yourself, where you dedicate this energy that you were dedicating to another person, you dedicate that energy to you. You learn about yourself. You read the book of yourself. You pay attention to the signs that are internal, external. You pay attention to those signs and learn about yourself. Connect with yourself, and that is the path to healing for you. Yeah. I think that you will come out of that journey a much happier, well-rounded, more balanced person. I think that life will be a lot easier for you in that energy. There's a lot of nature imagery in here. I'm not surprised with the Three Trees Tarot that that's what you've got. Maybe spend some time in nature. With, like with the snake, with, I mean, these always have some nature imagery on it, with oaks, acorns. I don't actually know what kind of flowers those are. Comment if you do. The pine tree, the deer, the oat, like there's a lot of nature energy. Maybe spend some time, sometimes I feel like very crunchy, I guess, when I recommend earthing, but try earthing. Try getting your bare feet in the dirt. Try spending some time in nature, and just be. Maybe bees are important. Maybe bumblebees are one of your signs. Anyways, I'm gonna stack these back up. You know what? I think we're gonna leave the musician on top for you, my friend. I think that you need this positive reminder to look forward to of you getting out of the energy that you're currently in, which is so heavy. I'm like, I feel tired, which I mean makes sense, but it doesn't make that much sense. It doesn't make as much sense for as tired as I am. That's not the level of sense that it makes. See, I'm not even making sense right now. Oof. That like flustered, cluttered energy is really coming through. But yeah, I think you need rest. I think you need some R&R. I think you need some healing, pile 2. Let's get some positive messages from your spirit guides. No, we're not positive messages yet. I'm happy to take positive messages from your spirit guides as well, but let's get any messages. Let's get any messages from your spirit guides. What does pile 3 need to hear? Curious what card was trying to escape. 9 of Cups. The Death card too. What messages does Spirit have for pile 2? Let's give that one more shuffle. To the 2 of Pentacles. Interesting. I'm like being called to shuffle it again. Are you reluctant to hear these messages, pile 3? I mean, you're still here. You'll know if this is you. Alrighty. Messages for pile 3 from Spirit. Oh, 6 of Wands. 8 of Cups. Really, Spirit? I'm supposed to take all of these? I don't know if I'm supposed to take all of these. We're going to show the rest of the other three, and then we're going to put them away. King of Swords, Ace of Pentacles, Nine of Pentacles. These definitely make sense to me. Let's get some more messages from Spirit. Messages from pile 3 spirit guides. The 9 of Wands. Yeah. Oh, he must be exhausted, pile 3. I can feel it. I can feel how tired you are. My shoulders hurt. Very Atlas energy. Oh, the death card just came back out. We're definitely not taking all of those. We'll take death. We'll shuffle the rest back in. Oh. Is it both of these? No, it's just one. It's this one. 7 of Pentacles. Interesting. Whew. This one. The Queen of Pentacles. I want to see what the other two are. The 4 of Wands and the Hanged Man. Oh, that's interesting. With the World, too. That's interesting with the Hanged Man and then the World with 1221. I wonder if that's significant for you. Let's get some more. Oh, 3 of Wands. Yeah, yeah. Oh, I think we're supposed to take 8 of Swords as well. Knight of Swords, Ace of Wands, 7 of Cups, 4 of Cups. I think we have one more card that's supposed to come out for you, pile 2. There it is. And that is the 9 of Swords. Oh, I just want to give you a hug, pile 3. Things are hard. Oh, and the World is back on the back of the deck again. That's interesting. Huh. Okay. I wasn't intending on keeping the World back on the back of the deck, but that I think is a very good positive message. So we'll leave that out for us. And we're going to get going on this. Oh, pile 3. Let me start with you are on the way out of the energy you've been in. This heavy energy that you've been in, you are on your way out of it. You're leaving behind some of these things. Some of these like emotional things that you don't need. You're walking away. Maybe this ending was one. I'm not getting for all of you that the ending was one that you brought about, but the ending is definitely one that you're experiencing. And with 8 of Cups especially, I'm very much getting that you're leaving behind a lot of the feelings that you had during all of this, which is good. You should. And that is something that you have a lot of hard work to do on. That is not something that is going to come easy for you. That is something that you're going to have to put work into. And that work is going to leave you feeling overwhelmed and in pain. But it is work that will free you. This pain, what's funny is I'm also going to recommend shadow work for you. I've recommended shadow work on every pile. And it's interesting because I almost did my first general reading as a shadow work reading. But it didn't feel right. It didn't feel like this. This feels right. The shadow work reading didn't feel correct. I did write it down and I am going to do that video probably next. But I think I needed to get these messages first before I did the shadow work reading. But I think that some shadow work would be really helpful for you. Um, but yeah, I think that work is going to be, I like no way to cut it. That work is going to be painful. That work is going to be painful, but it's also going to be incredibly freeing because releasing these things, that's it, is releasing these things that weren't serving you from this situation will protect you in future situations. And I wouldn't be surprised if that comes out in my in the throwing when we do throwing later, when we cast later. Um Now, as for this, um, with the death, I do not think that this is really referring to the end of the situation. I think that this is the rebirth of you as a person. This situation very clearly changed you. Um, but it's sort of like you went into that situation as a caterpillar, and now you are in a cocoon, and you're going to come out of it as a moth. But you are this is a transition stage for you. This is a step on the journey, I would say. Um, you are on you're in an alley that connects two streets. You know, like you're heading from one energy to the next. And that rebirth is coming. But you're in that moment just after death and just before your rebirth. And that is where all of this comes in. And I think that it may take you a while to feel like you have been reborn. I think that you may question it when you come out the other end. You may be questioning of like, okay, am I really ready to be out of this energy? And I think that you're going to be in that assessing period for I think actually, you know what? I don't think this is I think that this is you came to the end of a cycle and you're in a transition between the end of the old cycle and the beginning of the new one. And I think that it's going to be really difficult for you to know when you are ready for the new cycle to begin. Um, I think that you may want to feel more certain than you do going into this new cycle. And I think that you're going to spend a lot of time assessing that. And I think that when the new cycle comes, I do think that you may be very overwhelmed by it. Um, oh, Oh, the world, the lovers, the emperor. Oh, this is a great energy. Okay, we're gonna take. I was just thinking we need more positive messages for you. So you know what? This is you coming out of the old cycle and going into the new one. You know. And then this is your energy in your new cycle. You've got the world. You've got the lovers. You've got the emperor. I Your new cycle after this is going to be so, so good. And I'm so sorry that right now things are hard and things are going to be hard for a little bit longer. Um, but you are being divinely protected. You are being divinely guided. You know, you're you're being this is a hard place on your path to be. And unfortunately, this is just a part of your path. It's just a part of your path that you have to walk and you have to resolve so that your soul can grow. But you have so much coming ahead of you. I mean, you have like the world on a silver platter. Like you have so many opportunities after you learn the lessons that you were meant to learn in this. And those lessons are going to serve you for the rest of your life and they're going to make you a really great authority. This work is going to make you a really great authority on your own life. On not just on your own life too, but this I almost want to say like mastering control, but this energy is really going to help you grow into the emperor you are. Like I just heard go off king. Like uh really I see such wonderful positive energy in your future once you get through this. And I actually think that the lessons that you learn from this situation, you're never going to end up back in this situation ever again. The situation that you were in, this situation, this is never going to happen again. And it's not that this is never going to happen again because spirit is going to keep this from, the universe is going to keep this from happening to you ever again. This is never going to happen to you again because you are not going to let it happen to you ever again. And that is really what you need to learn. That I think that in the past 3 readings we've gotten the world in all of them. You guys have every one of you piles has such beautiful energy. Um but yeah, I really believe and if you were called to a previous pile, there is some overlap in the cards that have come out, which is wild because there are 78 cards in this deck and you have overlap with more than one card with more than one pile. Um but yeah, I really, the path ahead of you is so bright. And you're this little baby deer right now. You're a little baby deer and you're growing. Oh, I think it's wonderful too. You've got like the little baby and then you've got like the adult and then you've got like the full grown stab over here too. Of like, you I just heard blow up. Um but like really, you're this little baby deer and you are learning lessons that are going to be so crucial to the way that you navigate the world. And they are hard, shitty lessons to learn. And I'm so sorry that you have to learn them. And I'm sorry that you had to learn them like this. But you've gotten through the worst of it. And now you're in the processing part of it. And you're going to come out of it in such a beautiful, you're going to come out of it into such a beautiful place. We're going to cast really quick. I almost want to skip this for you. I'm going to do a 3-object pull for you, actually, for each of these cards, instead of a regular cast. Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. All right. Yeah, there's no way out of this situation that isn't positive after you've done the work. This is a good omen. This is a great omen. This is a sign. This is a great sign that you have so much positivity ahead of you. You have so many good things ahead of you. And if you need that light to look forward to, feel free to use it. As long as it doesn't distract you from the work that you're doing. Don't hold on to that hope. Don't hold on to that light so hard that you lose sight of the the work that you're trying to do to process and heal. But at the same time, don't forget to look forward to what's coming. And with the lovers, I normally don't read the lovers as lovers. Honestly, I normally do read the lovers as divine timing. But I am getting a message that in the event that this is a romantic breakup, in the event that this is a romantic ending, this is not the last romance. You will find someone. You will find someone who you will be very happy with. This is my other piece. You will find someone who you will really be happy with. And in the event that this relationship wasn't a romantic relationship, I don't want to say that you're going to find someone who will like fill the void. Like that's not the energy that this is giving. But you will find members of your soul family. You absolutely will. That is being divinely guided. You are going to be divinely brought to people who are going to be your soul family and help you heal, actually, maybe even help you with this process. You may even be brought to people who are going to help you with this healing process. And with the Emperor, you are going to I this is my mending piece. um And you are going to mend this. You are going to heal from this. You are. It may feel like you're never going to heal from this. And trauma doesn't work like that sometimes, but you are going to you're not just going to heal from this, you're going to learn about healing yourself through this. And yeah, it's the energy you have coming is so beautiful. I'm smiling so wide right now. I like the energy you have coming is so beautiful. And I don't want to say like it'll make everything worth it because I think that the idea that like suffering is a tax is very Christian. Like it's a very Catholic idea that suffering is is a tax that everyone has to pay. You know, that's not it. Um but you will be I think you will find yourself incredibly grateful for the lessons that you learned from this one day. Um and it's okay if you're not there yet. But yeah. All right, let's get some positive messages from your spirit guides from you. You are definitely not done, my friend. I think that some of these are going to have some advice for you on how to heal. Whoa, that was a cat noise. That is Zeus, who I knew would do this at some point or another. He's now sitting on the back of my chair. So count your reading as blessed by the cat. He doesn't take kindly to being pet from strangers, but pile free, I will adoringly pet him for you later, I promise. He's probably bugging me because it is almost his dinner time. All right, pile free. Let's get some positive messages from the spirit guides. Let's get one more shuffle on these bad boys. All right, positive messages for pile 3. Oh, I'm holding a whole deck upside down. 0440, the gut feeling. Intuition, betrayal, pessimism, relating, value, insight, increased perception, love, monogamy. Follow your gut. It's more than just a feeling. Be real with people and focus on meaningful relationships. Remember, you must also bring value to the table. Treat others with respect or else karma will bite your ass. 3 is a crowd. Oh, pile 3. I hope you weren't cheated on in your past relationship. And that's not me saying that if you are now suspecting for the very first time that you were probably cheated on. I'm just saying I hope that's not something that you know. But yeah, following your intuition and focusing on your meaningful relationships, I think is really a good message for you. In light of this ending that you've just gone through. Focusing on the relationships that mean a lot to you and putting the energy that you were putting into this past situation, putting that energy into the relationships that you know are worth it, including the relationship with yourself. I think that would really benefit for you. It would really benefit you. 2020, compassion. It is a confirmation that your assumptions and beliefs are correct. But it's also an encouragement to use your talents and gifts because they will benefit the world and your pockets. Be of service to others. Your potential is enormous. Mercy, diplomacy, potential, service, recovery, adaptability, renewal. And you know what this is giving too? Use your talents and gifts because they will benefit the world and your pockets. I think that's giving with the musician. Like I said, if you're a creative type or if you're a person who, if you've been called to make a creation out of the feelings that you've been experiencing, make it. You know, I'm suddenly being called to share. I saw this post earlier about, whoa, my self-love candle is going crazy. I saw a post earlier about a girl who did an art project for her class, and the art project that she did had like peacock feathers and rhinestones on it, like just a few of them, because she really liked those elements. And her teacher absolutely was not a fan of peacock feathers and rhinestones. And so the teacher said to her basically something along the lines of, I am going to be honest, I don't like peacock feathers and rhinestones. I do like that you made art that made you happy. So my only critique of this is that I want you to make me, I just don't like it right now. I want you to make me hate it. I want you to go so hard into the things that you like, into the peacock feathers and rhinestones, that I don't just dislike it, make me hate it. Love it so much that I'm going to hate it, because I'm not going to like peacock feathers and rhinestones no matter what. So, if you're gonna go in, go all in, you know. And I think that creation is very much the same thing. So I think that if you're doubting yourself on a project or a creative thing that you've been wanting to do, but you're like, oh, I don't know, I'm not good at this thing, or I've never done it before, or whatever, like, fuck it, who cares? Who cares if you've never done the thing? Who cares if other people aren't going to like it? Because the people who weren't going to like it were never going to like it anyways. So lean into it. And I think that you'll be really surprised. Your potential is enormous. You know what I mean? Um, and even if it doesn't bring you immediate success and money and fame, um, the act of making it will bring you gifts. And sharing what you make, I mean, it's like this. If it even helps one person, if it even touches one person's soul, I think it's worth it. I think it's both of these. Here we go. Okay. Come on. 1144, high vibes. High vibes. Divine intervention, prosperity, big ventures, fated events, faith, purpose, higher calling. Love or other happiness lurks just around the corner. It will be something much better than in your wildest dreams. A rare opportunity, an exciting encounter with like-minded people will exceed your expectations. Yes. And right over the lovers, too. Oh, wonderful. And then 777. 7777. Perseverance. Change of perspective, reflection, inner strength, wisdom, enlightenment. There's a need for a change of perspective on whatever has taken over you now. If you want to succeed, you need to keep going down the road you're on. Reach for the wisdom within, and then you'll just know what the right next step is. Yeah, that's great advice, I think, especially with this like energy down here of like, oh, like, I don't know when I'm going to be ready. Like, I'm looking over at this journey and I'm like looking at what's ahead and I'm just so lost. And I'm overwhelmed, and it's like, you made it. This situation is over. This situation has ended. Death. You're done. The situation's done. Um, and now you're processing and you're healing. But that processing and healing is internal work that you can do, that you're going to do, to leave this situation in the past where it belongs. And follow your intuition. You'll know when you're ready. Let's get some soul reminder cards for you, pile 3. You are here and now. I think that's important, yeah. Don't live too far in the future, but also don't live in the past. Doing your best is enough. You also got to trust yourself, but I don't think that's the last message that you're supposed to get. The secret to happiness is freedom. And that with the 8 of Swords too, which is such like a freedom card. Oh, it's not selfish to do what's best for you. Yeah. Yeah. Don't let yourself live in the past. And don't get so caught up in the future that you don't live in the now. And be gentle with yourself. Don't let yourself be bound by what happened. And don't let yourself regret doing what's best for you now. If something about this situation is still pulling at you and it's time for you to cut ties, then you know what? Do it. Cut it. You have to take care of yourself. It's not selfish to do what's best for you. And it's also not a problem if all you can give sometimes is your best. Be gentle with yourself. Please, please, please take care of yourself, pile 3. I'm wishing you all of the best with the healing that you... I don't want to say have to do, but the healing that you are working through. That's really what I want to say. But I'm wishing you all of the best with the healing that you're working through. I'm sending you all of the positive vibes and love and positivity. Um, And I don't just hope that you're going to get through this and end up in a better situation. I can see it. Things are going to be okay. You're going to have some work to do, and it's going to be hard and it's going to suck for a little while, but things are going to be okay. You've got a lot of you've got a lot of joy in your future once you find a way to get free from this situation. Anyways, thank you so much for joining me, Pile 3. Thank you for letting me work with your energy. Um, I appreciate you. Sorry, I'm getting like overwhelmed. I'm getting overwhelmed, I think, with your energy, which is, I'm not getting overwhelmed by your energy, but I'm getting overwhelmed with, like, I think that you needed to hear somebody say that they appreciated you. Um, and I think that you need to hear you say you appreciate you as well. I think if you were called to watch Pile 2, I think maybe you should watch Pile 2. Um, anyways, uh, thank you so much for joining me. If this reading resonated, if this reading was helpful, if you enjoyed this, if you watched it all the way through, um, please like, comment, subscribe, interact with us in some way. That is cat noises. Yeah, but I know it's your dinner. Hey, bit. Up. Stop it. He's clawing up my furniture as usual. Sorry. But yeah, if this resonated, if this was helpful to you in any way, please interact. Let me know. Just let me know that it was helpful, or let me know that you enjoyed it. Because yeah, I think I'm probably going to end up making more videos. But it really helps me to know that this reached the person or people who it was meant to reach. So thank you so much for joining me, Pile 3. I appreciate you. I'm sending you all of the love and light that I can send, and I wish you luck. And thank you so much for joining me and letting me work with you. Bye.